every 2 weeks.
With what?
Just what it has to grow.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you're going to put that, what she's talking about, putting the color essentials around, you know, you really don't have to use that unless you're going to put it on something like this. It's going to actually produce a big flower.
I see. Okay.
And that normally is about every 2 to 4 weeks.
Color essential. Okay.
It says on the bag about once a month or something like that, but we recommend about every 2 to 4 weeks actually. So. And that Super Thrive, actually, all it is just like a B12 shot. You know, gets those roots going, gets them helps get them established. Hi, sweetie. That's your youngest partner. How are you? Y'all coming in?
She just wanted to see her puppy.
Our
There
puppy?
he is. Whoops, there he is.
Daddy.
Okay, and now we'll go.
Did y'all get to eat breakfast?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it is necessary to fertilize.
Oh, yes.
For some reason, I thought once you put them in, they just...
They do need supplements from time to time. Yes, they sure do. It helps keep the color, it helps keep the roots established, strong roots, vigorous growth, all that kind of stuff. I was just going to say, you see I have some real pretty pots here made up, but actually you can take just about anything and plant these in anything. Rock, I've got some stuff in the greenhouse over here. I just didn't have a whole lot of room here, as you can see, to set stuff up. I've got some real porous pots in there that you can plant in to do very well. I've seen them planted in an old boot. You know, that looks really neat. It's just, it's what you like and what you can afford at the time. But I'll tell you something, if you go out to one of these florist shops and you buy a big old bouquet of flowers to send to somebody, you know, I mean, it can get pretty expensive, and they're only going to last maybe a week or so. You make something like this up, and you know, it depends on what you want to do. You can spend a little money, or you can spend a lot of money. I've got another big, huge cactus garden in there made up that's pretty expensive, but, you know, it'll last for years.
Is your theme when you plant like this in odd numbers, or how many plants would you put in there? In a pot? 3?
I don't even think about it.
Oh, you don't?
This one looks good.
I really don't. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I start with a main plant like this here, and I just build around that. You know, there's some of them you can take off little babies and kind of just poke them in, and sooner or later, actually, they will produce roots. You can take them off the main plant. If you wanted to detach this little baby right here from this echeveria and put it in here, it'll grow and it'll produce roots,
Jeff,
which is really...
You don't have to worry about some overpowering the other plants like...
Eventually that will happen, and you might think about digging it up and replanting it, you know, maybe planting it by itself or put it in something bigger and replacing that with something maybe a little smaller at the time. You'll see a lot of plants, if you go through the cactus house over here, you see a lot of plants that are in little 4-inch pots, 2-inch pots, and then I've got the same plant in a big 8-inch pot that's 10 times bigger, but it's the same plant. It's just an older plant.
Like that Madagascar palm, I've got one that's about 5 feet tall.
They're beautiful. They are gorgeous. I'm going to have to show y'all something here in a little bit. Try to remind me, Sylvia, if you would. I've got a plant in here, and I wanted to show y'all, if you're not aware of what scale looks like, and this infestation of scale, well, I've got one, and I wanted to show it to y'all. But it's, Bob doesn't even know what plant it is, really. We looked at it yesterday. Yeah. Yeah.
One more question. Is this a clay pot necessary, or we can grow in the ceramic also?
Yes, sir. That's what this is. This is ceramic right here. I like clay. I don't know, because they're a little cheaper. They absorb the water a little more. Not that you can't plant here. That's going to do very well. I think it turned out beautiful, and it was just a simple little planting. Actually, it's not really, you know, it's not rocket science. You know, it's very simple to do. A little imagination goes a long way. It really does.
You don't have to worry about drainage then.
Well, that's what I said earlier. Actually, this one does not have drain holes in it.
Yeah, but I have some decorative little frogs that I put succulents in.
Mhm.
It has no drainage there at all. But they seem to be going okay.
Well, that's fine. Some of them you don't, but just for an extra precaution, I just put, like I said, I'll break up a few little pieces of clay, an old clay pot, and stick them on the bottom, just to absorb some extra water. So that water, when you do water, that water doesn't just sit on the bottom and get to the root system of the plant. A lot of these, if they stay too wet, they'll just rot out, which I've had some experience with. So I have killed a few.
Haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
If there's a question.
Oh, sorry. Yes, ma'am.
With thick rocks, what kind of water do you use? Straight water from the tap?
That's fine. Oh, yes.
Yes.
If you use, usually not, I've noticed we've gotten a few of these in. You'll look at the leaves on this one. Actually, there are some water spots, and it makes me think that that might have been where they're getting some overhead watering, like a mist system or something like that. And other than that, I've never used anything else, just regular tap water.
If you use a ceramic pot, you drill a couple of holes in the bottom to drain it.
It would be a good idea, actually.
You put a dish on it.
Yes, sir. I was kind of in a hurry when I did this, so I didn't really have time
I
to
just want to make sure it don't mess up the pot.
drill some holes in it, you know. And knowing my luck, I'd probably break the pot, so that's an expensive pot.
What else would you put with this one? I was surprised to see the euphorbia there because I never thought of that in a succulent garden.
Yeah, actually, these would do probably, they do fine in a pot, but they're going to get so big, they'd probably be better planted in like a cactus garden outside, that type of situation. So,
Is that a
and-
ponytail in that?
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what that is. Actually, I planted this last year. I never sold it, so I thought I'd just bring it out and show you guys, because this ponytail has probably tripled in size since last year. It's doing very well.
And what's the plant behind it?
This one,
Yes.
that's a variety of Crassula. That's Crassula.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't quote me on my spelling.
Now, if something gets really large, do you take it out and, you know, like say that Madagascar, grew to 4 feet, would you take it out and?
Well, it's not going to get 4 feet in that pot.
The pot itself is going to keep it small.
Right, exactly. The bigger pot usually is going to be, you know, the plant's going to get bigger in a bigger pot.
Well,
And that's
right.
because of the roots are going to be a little bit constricted.
But I guess what I'm thinking is that the different succulents don't always grow at the same
No, they don't.
at the same amount, and it might.
Some of them are a lot faster growers, like this calantula, there's donkey here, right here. It's going to grow a lot faster than, say, the Madagascar palm. I don't know, she said she's got one. How tall is yours?
Oh my gosh.
How long have you had it?
About 6 years. It was pretty big to start with. It was bigger than that.
What do you think the average growth in a year is, or so on yours? I'm just
I
curious.
don't know, we leave it out on a shady porch, and except on, you know, it's gonna freeze, we roll it into.
You bring it in?
Yeah, roll it inside, but, it grows, I don't know, the new growth bends toward the light, and
Right.
so you have to keep turning it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know, it's probably about this big around at the bottom.
Oh, wow. Do you have anything else with it, or just the?
Oh, just the biggest that came up in there.
Does it survive the winter?
It's in a pot about this big.
Does it survive the winter?
Well, it's in a covered porch, but, we pull it in if we think it's going
Too
to,
cold.
be a hard freeze. But
Yeah, if you're
we have
second
it
guessing
on the
yourself
blower.
on that,
Okay.
go ahead and cover it or protect it or bring it inside. Usually, we have this cactus house, and I know you've all probably seen it at one time, where it was just covered in plastic,
Yeah.
and that's because